Hi folks, welcome to your mwis Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Now there is a good deal of fine weather in the forecast through this weekend. We've got some warm sunshine to be found. Some cloud and fog though may just linger around some western coastal hills, particularly in Scotland. Quite breezy across the hills again on Saturday. We then watch next week for any changes coming in from the Atlantic, the risk of some rain developing on a cold front late Monday into Tuesday. There's the chart for Saturday. We have high pressure situated just to the west of us, extending broadly across the British Isles. We have a warm front that is pushing in towards northwest Scotland though, and that producing thicker cloud and the risk of some patchy drizzly rain, mostly just towards northwestern coastal areas, but a few spits and spots may go a bit further inland across northern and western Scotland. Otherwise dry with a good amount of sun. The strongest of the breeze then towards the northern parts of the Highlands, where locally may be gusting gale force on the high tops. Now I'm going to show you these colourful looking charts to tell the story of cloud over the next few days. The different colours represent cloud at different elevations in the atmosphere, and this is first thing on Saturday morning, where we've got an array of cloud across the country, some banks drifting across the hills around more western coasts. We have the remnant of a front just clearing across central parts of England, a weak cold front which came southwards during Friday. As we just take the story on, just watch out to the west of Scotland on the top left corner of this map, and the thicker redder colours indicate more extensive low-level cloud that increasingly through the day is due to spill in to the west coast. So you may get away with a few hours where the cloud is quite broken, but that more extensive bank of low cloud is expected to shroud the hills then increasingly as we head onwards through the afternoon, and some cloud lowering across the hills a bit more extensively across northern and central parts of the Highlands. But inland areas, much of the cloud is sort of higher level stuff, and many summits may well stay largely clear. The lowest cloud focused around the west coast, but fairly overcast skies to be expected across a fair part of the Highlands, all associated with that warm front towards the northwest. Further south across England and Wales, some high cloud but good breaks and sunshine coming through more extensively, the black colours then indicating where we've got clear sky. The chart for Sunday has high pressure over the top of the country, mostly light winds, a warm, fine day across the British Isles. We have any fronts that steered away toward the north, the strongest of the breeze towards the north of the Highlands, but generally low speeds for most places. Looking at the cloud map though, as we dawn Sunday morning, extensive area of low cloud is expected to exist over the Atlantic, and that's spilling inland around western coasts as well. Now this could be really very low level stuff, almost fog on lower slopes in places. As we're underneath high pressure, there is an inversion that exists, and that inversion looking pretty close to the higher mountain tops, to the extent that we may well see many of the high summits in Scotland lying above any of those fog banks. Around the west coast, just where the breeze may be a bit stronger, some of those fog banks could lift a little bit higher up, but there's a fair chance that the high mountains are above any of the fog. And even around the Lake District and possibly Snowdonia too, the high tops could be above those cloud banks. They'll largely disperse as we go onwards through the morning around western Scotland and maybe just some Irish sea coasts. Some banks of fog may linger into the afternoon, mostly though thinning and breaking, and it's essentially clear skies barring just some thin high level cloud. A few mist and fog patches still around Skye, Mull and the far west coast of the Highlands. Again, should be that any mountain tops are above that fog. For Monday, high pressure is centred just to the east of us, and we're strengthening the wind from the south to southwest as the day goes on. By the time we get to the evening, very blustery across Scottish mountains and reaching gale force across the tops as we head into Monday night, I suspect. That's as a front is moving in from the Atlantic, pressure just beginning to fall somewhat, and the risk even of some rain coming on to western coastal areas of Scotland by the evening or into the night. That could turn persistent. Otherwise, it's generally a fine, sunny and very warm day. With the wind turning a bit more to the south, the greatest risk of fog patches more around Irish Sea coast by this stage, around the Cumbrian coast and the Solway perhaps early in the day. That would tend to thin and break. Quite an extensive blue colour on the map, and that indicates that we've got extensive high-level cloud possibly in the story for Monday. Now, a largely sunny story, but it's that sort of cirrus cloud which is very high and wispy. It might just make the skies rather milky, so not blue skies. It may well be a mainly sunny, very bright day, just beware of sunburn, but it could be a rather hazy looking sky by this stage. And the thickening cloud just moving in then towards western Scotland later, the high cloud building ahead of that oncoming front. The progress of that front into Tuesday, quite uncertain. It's likely to wriggle around a little bit just to the western side of Britain and Ireland, so could just be a rather damp day in these areas. Low cloud, fairly extensive across the western hills in Scotland, some rain and drizzle which may be around much of the day. Not too much reaching the east and north of the Highlands, still rather overcast skies, but cloud bases higher further to the east and the north. For England and Wales, underneath high pressure, still generally a fine and very warm day. Risk of some coastal fog patches near the Irish Sea, otherwise generally the hills and mountains are clear. Again, uncertainty just how the pattern plays out by Wednesday. It all depends where that front gets to. It's at the greatest risk of just some remnants of patchy rain and low cloud somewhere across the south of Scotland or north of England. Warmer conditions hanging on toward the south, could still be largely a sunny story, some high cloud in there. Across Scotland, somewhat cooler, risk of a few showers breaking out, and one or two of those could be heavy if these do pop up into the afternoon. So just watch for things being a little bit more mixed, cooler, showery for a time then across northern Britain in the middle of the week. High pressure toward the southwest though, looks as though it then tries to build again across the country. Not an absolutely convincing story later in the week just how that high builds. It could still just allow some showery conditions to move in across Scotland at times, but most indications build the high back across the country through the later part of the week, and giving some further dry, warm and sunny conditions. We watch though for some further frontal systems skirting in from the Atlantic, which may by next weekend start to bring again some rain, some showers and some cloud to west and northwest Scotland. That looks to be an ongoing trend into the second half of the month. This is the pressure indications through the week up until the 25th of July from one of the forecast models, and we've got high pressure across the southern half of the British Isles and Europe, keeping things warm and dry in this part of the world, but just allowing Atlantic weather systems to try and come into Scotland at times, and pressure may just fall here to give something that bit more changeable. So temperatures nearer to average more of the time for Scotland, some hotter days though being drawn in on south to southwesterly winds across England and Wales. Eventually, as we head into the later stages of July, suggestions are that more unsettled, perhaps thundery conditions get into the story a bit more often. Hope all of that's been useful for you then. Enjoy some sunshine where it is around. That is your Friday planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.